Good morning, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here this morning.
Good morning.
At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Here.
Master Barger?
Here.
Master Tudor?
Here.
Master Bodkin?
Present.
Judge Taylor?
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite Robert Blythe to come up and lead us in a word of prayer from First Baptist Church, Francis Street in South Collins, North Collins. Francis and Collins. Yeah. Welcome.
Judge Taylor, thank you to the magistrates and all the other officials who are present this morning. It's an honor to be here with you. If you'll allow me to share one thing before we pray. This year, First Baptist Church at the corner of Francis and Collins Streets will celebrate her 175th anniversary.
Wow.
For 175 years, we've been a part of the history of Madison County. Same spot, 5 buildings, and in the 175 years, 9 pastors. I've been privileged to serve for the past 36 years. The first pastor served 35, and my predecessor, 26. So it's quite an honor to be able to share that with you. And as we move toward the end of the year, the month of September 8 and 9, save the date, we're going to have the big celebration of our 175 years. So we invite the whole community to be a part. You'll hear more formally about that later, but it gives me great pride to be a part of that great heritage and history. Shall we pray? Dear God, our Father, we truly are grateful for this privilege this morning to, as the writer of Hebrews says, come boldly to the throne of grace where we might find help in time of need. We thank you for the privilege that we have to call upon your name, not only in times of trouble, but also at times when we simply want to praise you for your greatness. The psalmist said, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. Thank you for this privilege. We pray for those now who will deliberate the matters that concern your people. We pray for them as King Solomon prayed, for wise and understanding hearts, that we might deal properly with the matters before us. Thank you for these who have gathered, the matters that are concerns of their hearts this morning. You know all about them. We pray that in all that takes place in our lives and in these meetings that we attend, participate in, we pray that you will get glory. Guide us and direct us that what we do will please you and bless and benefit your people. Forgive us of our sins, we ask, as we realize that we don't always do what is right, but we pray your forgiveness and your mercy. In a time, Father, when there's such talk of violence and war all around us, we boldly pray for peace on earth, peace in our hearts and our homes, peace in our communities. Bless those whose charge it is daily to give us safety in the public. Bless their homes and families as they offer themselves, sacrificially even, for the labor to which they're called. Thank you for the hope that we have through Jesus Christ. Thank you, Father, that you blessed us even beyond what we deserve, that you provided for us hope for our eternal destiny. It is in the name of Jesus that we pray and ask all these things. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Sheriff, if you will, please.
Please stand, face our flag, pledge allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, guys, next is the approval of the minutes. Last meeting, I think we had some discrepancies in the minutes, so do we want to start with those first? Isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm.
The last meeting? So if y'all had a chance to review those, if so, I need a motion and a second to approve the last meeting's minutes.
So approved. So moved.
Second.
No discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes, which I guess that really should have been 2 meetings ago's minutes, right?
Yeah.
And now we need to approve last
Last
meeting's
meeting.
minutes. Yep. Everybody knew what I was trying to lay down, right? All right. So now I need a motion and a second for the previous meeting's
So
minutes.
moved.
Second.
No discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you, guys. Next is the treasurer's report, but it'll be at the next fiscal court meeting. It's fourth Tuesday's meeting. First order of business today is to award the tower generator bids for the CSET. Michael, are you here to go over that with us? Good morning, buddy. Appreciate you being here.
Good morning. How you guys doing this morning?
Good.
What this is we've got 8 tower sites that run our 800 megahertz radio system. We've got some funding later on to upgrade those entire radio system, tower system. And one of the first phases we're going to do is replace the generators at those 8 sites. And we've got 3 bids for that. We analyzed them, looked at them. We would like to recommend that the bid be awarded to Master Electrical Services. They had a low bid of $329,530.23. And then one other thing I would mention is the old generators, we're going to take those out and give those to our local volunteer fire departments. So they'll have generator power, and that's part of this process.
I think we're gonna take one of them for a fire station too as well, I believe.
Yes,
Yep.
correct.
Yep.
Judge, I move to accept this bid.
Second.
No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Viking?
Yes.
Mr. Combs? Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you being here. Next is to award the road department bids that we advertised for. Culverts gas, bulk oil, asphalt, concrete. Blake?
Yep. Good morning. If you'll find in your Dropbox, I have put together a spreadsheet on the culvert bids that we have received. We had a lot of response this year. We got bid from 4 different companies. And I kind of just laid those out in green, who was cheapest, red being the highest. So hopefully you all reviewed those, and I would just like for you all to basically make a recommendation and vote on who you'd like to choose. I will say that by using an out-of-town source, we will have to stockpile culverts instead of going and getting them as we need them. That will be a little bit of an inconvenience to us. It will also give the opportunity of those being damaged when they're stored there on the lot. I contacted the cheapest bidder, and there is no minimum that we have to buy. They do deliver to Richmond every day of the week, so we'd never be a day without being able to get what we need. But it will be different from being able to go across the street and picking up what we need. But there was such a price significant difference that I thought that I should bring it to you all to decide.
So is it your intentions, Scott, to piecemeal them by the cheapest one on every category, or take a general?
No,
Are
we
you
won't.
recommending a general?
We will need to take a general supplier, one general supplier.
Yeah.
But you keep a certain number in stock, wouldn't you? I mean, you wouldn't.
We will have to begin doing that. We haven't done that previously. We will just place an order for the sizes that we mostly use, and we will have to stock those at our location if you choose an out-of-town source.
Scott, where is Foster Supply?
It's in London, Kentucky.
London.
Did they give you any estimate on turnaround times and things like that?
If we order today, we receive tomorrow. They're here every day of the week. I did break it down to them if we were doing a job and we happened to run out of a certain size pipe, or we needed a certain connection, and we had to have it that same day. They said there would be a $75 delivery charge if we got into that circumstance. But this is gonna put basically the heat on us to be able to stock and take care of inventory and keep what we need to where we don't run out.
Did you take an average of the savings over that one company, over their local supplier?
Basically, it's broke down on the spreadsheet. You can see that, most of the time in just a regular 15-inch culvert, we would be saving around $70 per unit. And the bigger size culvert that you deal with, the more you're gonna save. If you get into 36-inch culverts, there's as much as $300 difference.
So the $70 per average culvert, and how many did you install last year roughly?
We figure we probably installed around 100 culverts.
Yeah.
So that's a $7,000 savings just if you only put 15-inch culverts in. which I thought was a significant enough savings to bring this to you to decide. We always like to go local, we like to use local suppliers, but when there's this much of a price difference, I thought we should have a discussion.
I mean, just looking at what you supplied to us, it's pretty cut and dry on the choice there, in my opinion.
The only thing that stands out to me on the one, the Foster, just the regular band is $5 higher. I mean, that's a big change there compared to some of them, but all their other pipes are cheaper. So I guess you can kind of make up the difference in buying the
But
pipe.
the thing about the bands is the only time you ever really use a band is when you're connecting two pipes together.
So that's not something you commonly use very often.
Right. When you're connecting pipes together.
We
you
don't
a
use
band.
them every time, but if we find an existing driveway that they'd only put a 20-foot piece in, and it's causing a drainage issue, and we need to add 10 more feet to it, yes, we do use bands. We probably used roughly 30 to 40 bands this past year.
Question.
Yes.
If we do go ahead and award this, say, to Foster Supply, is there a possibility, or is there a possibility, that the average person out here that has to buy a tile to be put in, can they buy that from the county and reimburse us and then go from there? Because it's a big savings.
Previously in the past, I've been told no. We are not a distributor of materials. We do not sell any type of material at the road department. I don't know if it's something that can be changed or if it's something that you all want to look into, but
You'd have to wait till January probably for that.
historically, we do not accept any money or sell any items from the road
But
department.
you have to have a resale certificate from the state to be able to resell like that. We are due sales tax, but I think that would require another.
Well, I'm just looking out for the average person out here trying to save him a little money, and you can see the difference, because if they buy one, they're gonna buy it local, it's gonna be a lot higher.
I'm sure this company will be glad to entertain the thought of maybe a constituent purchasing from them and them delivering to our lot and the transaction go through them, but I don't believe they would get the same price as we would because of the volume we're buying.
Well, the county attorney's probably right, they'll probably wait till January for it.
We're getting this price because of volume that we would buy,
Yeah,
and the individual's just gonna buy one.
that's correct.
Just a question. How many, Scott, would you have to stockpile in an order? You said you'd have to stockpile.
Well, there's no minimum that we would have to purchase, but I would think we would need to keep at least five pipes of each size and 5 bands of each size on the lot, and then reorder upon using those. And how we would do that is Melissa would actually track those through work orders, and when that size pipe was used, then she would automatically put a reorder in for that size from that company.
Maybe a 30 or 60 day supply on it, and then
Uh,
for your projects.
Yeah, and the way we do our work, and we have to do it weather related. So most of the time, we do more culvert work during dry weather. So, during that period of time, we may buy a 6-month supply and use it in 3 months. So it's really hard for me to give you an exact amount of what we would actually stock.
But you should have enough, history to make an accurate purchase on that.
We have a good history to make an estimated guess, yes. Which we only have so much budget money anyway, so.
That's right.
We can't go over our budget.
I always like to buy it local, but there's quite a bit of difference in the price here.
I'll make a motion that we, use Foster Supply Inc. for our culvert.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to use Foster Supply Inc. for our culverts. If no more discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Berger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next.
Our second bid will be our rock bid. We only received one bid for this item, and that was from the Allen Company Incorporated. I know the next question is, how much did it go up? Looks like it took an increase of about 15 cents per ton on every grade of rock, which I thought was very minimal. They gave us great service. We've always had a great working relationship with them, so my suggestion would be to award Allen Company the rock bid.
And that's delivered at the road department.
Both prices, Larry. What we done, sometimes we're close to a job site, so we had them this year to give us a pickup price and then a delivery price.
Yeah.
So the pickup price for us to actually go get the stones quite a bit cheaper than their delivery price. So we save money every time we can if we have a truck in that area or if we're close to one of their quarries.
Judge, I move we award the rock bid to Allen Construction.
Allen Company.
Allen Company.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Blackton?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Our next bid will be for oil products and petroleum products. This does not include fuel. This is only for our bulk oil, grease, the petroleum products we use in the garage. We only got one bid this year. The bid is from Apollo Oil, which is represented by Tim Stevens here locally. Every item on his bid decreased in price this year. And that, I guess that was due to the volume that we bought. We started out with this kind of not knowing what we were going to use. So we do have a price decrease in every item, and his service has been extremely good. So I recommend that we approve the Apollo Oil for our oil product.
You'll have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation that you just heard.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Blackton?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Can I make a comment? I know it's after the vote, but I'd still like to make a comment on that. In this day and time where that I don't care what you buy or where you go, every single thing has gone up. I'm glad to see that we have vendors who deal with the county who are willing to drop their prices on things. We certainly appreciate that.
Our next item will be our asphalt bid. Again, we only have one bidder. That was Allen Company Incorporated. They give us two different prices. They give us a price for base, us picking it up, or them laying it. And then they also give that price to us for surface, which is us picking it up and them laying it. It did increase this year. Last year, we were at $53.75 per ton, us picking it up. This year it will be $56, which is not that big of an increase. Us picking the surface up will be $58.25 versus last year of $55.50. And the laid prices are about $5 higher for each base and surface. So again, we've had excellent service with them. They've done the county a lot of extras throughout the year, helped us out a lot, and I suggest that we accept Allen Company Incorporated.
Do I have a motion and a second to approve the Allen Company to provide us our asphalt for this year?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. No more discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Blackton?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Our next item will be for concrete. We did have two bids this year. We had one bid from Concrete Materials and one from Ready Mix. Concrete Materials had our bid last year, and they are the lowest bidder this year. We've had excellent service out of them, and I suggest that we award the bid to Concrete
Was the
Materials.
second bid Ready Mix, or was it
C&C Ready Mix.
C&C Ready Mix? Okay.
Both those local, Scott.
Yes. The Concrete Materials actually was $2.50 cheaper per yard, and they have a 3-yard minimum, and C&C Ready Mix had a 4-yard minimum. And a lot of times we only use 3 yards because we're pouring concrete culvert boxes, and that helps us out a lot, just to be able to order 3 yards.
What was the price?
It's actually $110 a yard for 4,500 PSI, $107 a yard for 3,500 PSI.
Remember when it was $60?
I do
They
too.
do.
That wasn't yesterday, was it?
That concrete ain't gone down, has it?
I
Yeah.
make a motion, we accept concrete materials bid.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
No more discussion, call the roll, please.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. That's it, then, Scott.
One more, we actually have one for fuel.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
This will be for our everyday use fuel, which is diesel, off-road diesel, and gasoline. We had 2 bids this year, one from Riley Oil Company, and then one from Kentucky Petroleum, Riley Oil Company has been our provider in the past, and how this is bid is off terminal price. They have a markup from terminal price, and that's weekly. And Riley's was half of what Kentucky Petroleum bid. So I suggest that we give the award back to Riley Oil Company.
Do you check those prices?
They do send a terminal sheet with the billing statements of what it sold for at the terminal on the date we got it.
Okay, thank you.
Move we award Riley all the bid for the, fuel for the county.
So I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a second? No more discussion, call the roll, please.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, Scott, appreciate that, yeah. Next is Personnel, Road Department.
I'm bringing to you today a young man. He's with us today, Mr. Austin Pay, if you'd stand up.
Good morning, Austin.
We've interviewed him, and the committee would like to offer him a position at the road department as a CDL trainee, general labor. That position starts at $10 an hour. His start date would be June the 27th, if you all vote his acceptance.
How long does he have to get those CDs?
He has 6 months.
6 months. You understand that, don't you? Yeah, I move we hire him.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second. No more discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Next is Personnel, Seasonal Grounds Crew. Gary? Good morning, buddy.
Morning. Yeah, I would like the court's permission to hire Luke Mattingly as a seasonal grounds crew employee at $8 an hour effective tomorrow. And just as note with this, he came from a golf course in central Kentucky, and just to compare things, the crew he came from has 24 ground crew people on it, and the course is about the same size as ours, and he'll make our 8th person.
Does he realize he's gonna have to do a little more work here?
Yes, yeah, he's already been told that.
I'll make a motion that we accept, to hire Luke Mattingly for the grounds crew at $8 an hour.
So I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. No more discussion, call the roll, please.
Mr. Buckin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is an agreement with Kentucky Golf Association. Gary, I'm gonna let you explain this to me, and guys, the motion will be to allow me to sign this agreement with Kentucky Golf Association.
All right, the Kentucky PGA, it's all under the Kentucky House of Golf, is taking part in a program that 22 other states are involved with, and it's called the Youth on Course program. Pretty simple. They issue kids between the age of 5 and 18 an ID card, and for that they can play any golf course that is signed up for $5. The nice part about that, we charge $7 during the week for juniors, 10 on the weekends. What this program does is the child pays $5 at the end of the month. The Kentucky PGA reimburses us the difference. So during the week we get $2 or $2 to make up the difference for the weekend 5. So it doesn't cost us anything, and it's a great way to promote it. I'm not sure how many people will take part in it, but usually if a child is playing, a parent will come, rent a cart, they might play, and it's just a good way to get Battlefield out there without it costing us anything.
Good. I think it's great myself.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
How long does this program last? It's an indefinite?
It's a year, they sign up year by
Rolling
year,
years.
but it's indefinite at this point.
Gary, it sounds like a win-win situation
Yeah.
to me. I mean, we're getting reimbursed for
Mhm.
the greens fee, and these young people are getting an opportunity to play to promote their game along too. And so I think it's a win situation, like you say. A lot of parents will come with them, so you're encouraging young people and adults to come and
Yep.
share a course together. So that's,
Do I have a motion and a second to allow me to sign the agreement with Kentucky Golf Association
so move.
for the youth course program?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucking?
Yes.
Just Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate you being here today. Next is a presentation from our fire chief, Tim Gray. Good morning, buddy.
Morning.
Appreciate you being here. Glad you're here.
Thank you. What I've brought to the court today is a little thing I've been working on to try to save us a little money on unscheduled overtime. As of the 5th of this month, the last fiscal year, we spent $38,848 unscheduled overtime. What I've done, I've checked in, can change the next slide here, just kind of keep everybody up on page. What I'm looking at is seeing if you all will let me so-called hire 5 part-timers that'll keep our staffing at the lowest possible cost to the county. They won't work no more than 100 hours a month. This way they fall under Park Commission as a volunteer, and they cover their workman's comp that way. The county's not out anything on that. We'll pay them at $8.50 an hour. As you can see right now, if my new guy that's got 400 hours certified, if we pay him 1 hour overtime, it's costing us $14.13. Our highest paid guy is $22.76. So it's kind of a no-brainer to fill in. The reason we need them to fill in is right there, NFPA 1710. A typical 2,000 square foot, 2-story single family dwelling with basement, no exposures, we're supposed to have 14 men on scene to fight that. As y'all know, we run 2 stations with 8-man crews between the 2 stations, and we rely on the volunteers. So if we're short, we have to have people to fill back into our stations to keep those 8 people there all the time. That's where the overtime is coming from. Also, OSHA 1910.134 G4 says that anytime we're in an IDLH atmosphere, where that's an immediate danger to life and health, that we have to have air packs, SCBA's on. We have to have 2 guys that's inside. There has to be 2 men outside to get those if something goes wrong. So all we're doing is trying to cover our bases. There again, 8 people on shift. Someone calls in or somebody's gonna be off on vacation, we bring these volunteers, they're part-timers, in. They'll work a 24-hour shift. We'll train them up to 150 hours certification before we start using them. That keeps them on track with our guys. They'll work 2 weekends a month. It'll be 2.5 hours the first and third Saturday of each month. That way, if they do not work any overtime or work any time at all, that puts them their 5 hours minimum for a month for the part-time. Like there's the pros and the cons. Like I said, they'll only work for our department. They won't be issued a card to run red lights and sirens. That way, if somebody calls in, one of your guys run me out of the road, it won't be one of our guys. The only thing they'll be in will be one of our fire trucks or our apparatus. They'll be on, if we have a major event like Winchester had this past weekend, the shift commander will call them back into the station. They'll respond from the station out to wherever they're needed, like I said, in our vehicles. Mandatory training the first and third Saturday of each month for 2.5 hours to meet their 5-hour. And this won't go into play if, say, they've worked 2 or 3 days during the month on the shift. They'll get their training on shift. They've met their minimum hours for the month, so that won't come into play. Then this will be our future hire base. We know these guys and gals, we know what they can do. They get along with everybody. If it works out, when we have an opening, we move them on up into our, and the goal will be once we get them their 150, we'll work them to their 400 career over the time. It may take 4 or 5 years. And they don't have to be CPAT certified to come in at this level. When we move them to full-time, they have to get their CPAT. This gives them a little time. You know, you may have somebody that wants to get on a department and they realize, hey, this ain't for me. I don't like the 24 hours being away from home. This cuts that out where we don't get somebody started in 6 months. They don't like it and decide to leave. Some of the bad parts to it, we're going to have to get them uniforms. What I suggest is we just get them a uniform with the badge or the polo shirts like we wear and just have firefighter put on it. That way if they leave, the next guy takes their place, hopefully can wear that uniform. PPE, that's about $3,500 a set. We have some new hires that has got their 400 now that we put in used gear to get started. And I'm looking at upgrading those boys' gear, get them new gear, then we can take their gear that they're using, put a volunteer or part-timers in that. We'll have to purchase additional face pieces. That way everybody, the sanitary part of that, they're about $400 a piece roughly. So the upfront cost is gonna be about $1,500 a person to get these 5 guys started. That's what we're looking at. But I think in a year's time, you know, if we work them at the max, you're looking at $51,000. That's all 5 of them working 100 hours per month. They're not gonna work that much. It should cut our overtime almost in half and keep our staffing to a maximum where we need to be. Any questions from any of you all?
Tim, is there any liability issues there that we need to address? They would be covered, it looks like a normal firefighter here.
Yeah, they'll be covered. The state covers all volunteers through the Fire Commission, their workman's comp and all that, and by them not working over 100 hours, they will fall under that category through the State Fire Commission as a volunteer. The town of Versailles, city of Versailles, they run this same thing. They've been doing it about 20 years. Chief Brian Wainscott, I've contacted him. That's where I got most of my info from. And he said he'd be more willing to help any of us. If anybody's got any other questions, additional questions. But that's how they operate. They seen that in their city they needed more manpower during the day. So they started this about 97, 98, somewhere in there, and that's what they've been doing there. It actually makes our department a combination department, so-called. It's a career/volunteer in the fire service. As far as what we're looking at in the fiscal court, it's a full-time, part-time.
Do you foresee any shortcomings in filling these positions? You got people out there waiting?
We've actually done interviews for some full-time slots right now, and we had the people put whether they want full or part, and there's been quite a bit of inquiry in the interviews we started yesterday, wanting to know if they would be eligible for part-time if they didn't get into the full-time.
Chief, you ever see that maybe you could do a minimal shift too, that maybe you have a full-time firefighter that maybe just needs to be off for 8 hours?
Yeah.
And so instead of them being off 24, then you have the part-timer,
And
like a minimum, I guess?
Yeah, yeah. And there may be some part-timers. You know, right now we allow one person off, and that leaves a 7-man workday. And what happens if I've got one scheduled off and one calls in sick, I have to keep somebody from the other shift or call somebody back in. This way, instead of being 14 something an hour, we're looking at $8.50 an hour.
Yeah, right.
For a 24-hour shift to fill back in.
I think it's worth the $7,500 up front to find out who you got working for you that you might want to move on.
Yeah. You know, time we put everything, get them trained and get them And another thing with this, they can't be on another paid department in the state of Kentucky. That way we're not having to pay any retirement, anything like that in it. And it's kind of for, I guess in a sense, the younger generation that's wanting to get into it. They get in, get their feet wet and be part of the department and learn the ropes and see if it's really what they want to do. They actually get to work, but we've got to get them trained to 150 hours on the state level before we start.
You know, one of the things that I like about it is that our fire department right now is fairly young.
Yes.
You know, and we've got guys, you know, that are senior firefighters, got a lot of experience and expertise. And before, you know, our expertise retires, you know, they can be training some of these part-time guys, whereas we're not getting that right now.
Yep.
You know, we're having to.
Today's shift, for example, the senior man, other than the shift commander, will be 2 years in September. So that's what experience you've got across the board. Of course, they're a good set of guys, don't get me wrong, and they're willing to learn, but this gets
It's a good opportunity.
started getting that window broadened and opened up before then.
And then you have several that, in 6 months or so, gonna be retired.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got about 3 right now that's gonna be gone within the next year to 18 months.
Well, I like the idea of you having the opportunity to hire young men that want to come to work for us and then getting the opportunity to see if they fit or not. Because that's not always the case, and I've said all along to all the departments head here that it doesn't matter who you hire, get the best you can.
Yep.
This may allow you to do that and still fill gaps at the same time, so.
That's good. Thanks, Chief. I
Thank you.
appreciate
Appreciate it.
guys, on this, you know, I'd like for y'all to, any kind of further information that you might need, you know, you can get that from Chief, and then maybe we'll put this on the next fiscal court agenda, actually for an approval. That's all right? They're good? Thanks, guys. Thanks, Chief, a lot, man. It's good. Good presentation. Next is a public hearing for zone change, 2827 Lexington Road, UC7 Urban Corridor Agriculture to UC4 Urban Corridor General Commercial for 6 acres. I think we have individuals here from both sides that are here to present to us today. We'll start with Mr. Eves. Appreciate you being here. Welcome.
Thanks, sir. My name is Mike Eves, and I'm here with Morgan, and we representing Paul Sword and John Marks with respect to a zone change request that was submitted to the Planning Commission for 2761 Lexington Road. That consists of 6.82 acres. The application was for a change from UC7, which is agricultural, to UC4, which is general commercial. The general commercial designation was requested because Mr. Marks, who's a contractor in Lexington, had a specific project that he wanted to locate on part of this property. And if you've seen the application and seen some of the exhibits that were introduced at the Planning Commission, you've seen exactly what the nature of that was. The Planning Commission recommended that zone change. Since that hearing, we have, as a responsible developer should do, have had an opportunity to meet with our neighbors, Ms. Comley and her mother, Mary Lois Kearns. And we've talked to them about, they appeared at the Planning Commission, they voiced some concerns, they had questions. Since that meeting, although the Planning Commission recommended it, we have met with them, spoken to them a number of times, and have a better understanding of what their concerns are, what their questions were, and as a result, keeping in mind what the property owner wanted to do, proposed to do, and what the concerns of the neighbors were, we have tentatively agreed, I guess, with to amend our rezoning application from a request for UC4 general commercial to neighborhood commercial UC3. And after discussion not only with the neighbors but with the administrative staff of the Planning and Zoning Department, we believe that what Mr. Marks proposed is appropriate on that property under that UC3 designation, if you haven't looked at the two zones, and I didn't count them, so I apologize if I exaggerate, which I sometimes do. The UC4 designation probably authorizes 24 uses, maybe more than that. The UC3, which is the neighborhood commercial designation, probably authorizes a third that many. Same uses, just a third as many. A lot of the uses that in our discussions with Ms. Kearns and Ms. Comley, a lot of the concerns they had were with a lot of those other uses. And we started going through there and agreeing that no, we wouldn't want that either, and no, nobody would do that there. And so as a result of that conversation, we came back to the fact that, well, assuming we can do what Mr. Marks wants to do, which we think you can under UC3 designation, that's probably a use that satisfies us and satisfies our neighbor. Based on those conversations, then we would propose that we amend our petition to request that less intensive use for a neighborhood commercial or UC3. I would also say that I have prepared a draft. I haven't shared it with Mr. Patterson yet because it's just been recently done, but I have suggested to Ms. Kearns that we would prepare a certificate of land use restriction that shows her in writing, this is what we've agreed to do, this is what we've agreed not to do, and we'll submit that. We will sign that, and we'll submit that to Mr. Patterson for his review and signature by either the Planning Commission or the Fiscal Court. Now, beyond that, I'm willing to say a lot more if you've got the morning to listen to me.
Guys, y'all have any comments?
I think it's good when, that's good government, when you can bring two groups together and negotiate something that they were unagreeable and then come together with an agreeable assignment
well,
there.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to find out that you're really not that far apart.
Absolutely.
You just didn't talk. You just didn't talk about it. And when we sat down and talked about it, what we found was we really didn't disagree. The Planning Commission found that this met the criteria. This is exactly the same zoning designation. The UC3 is 170 acres of it right directly across the street that Fiscal Court approved in 2004. We don't think, we think under the circumstances this is the best way to get to the best result. We hope for everybody.
My personal opinion is I think it conforms better with what our comprehensive plan shows, what we've sort of already set up in our comprehensive plan, what we've approved in the past already for that urban corridor. So kind of tickles me that we've come to this conclusion. And to sort of help with the process, Judd, if it would be appropriate to have maybe the first reading of this, if the fiscal court is it approves it, this could be the first reading with the amendment to ordinance number 1807. This could be the first reading today. We could get the change done in the ordinance between this first reading and the second reading. Of course, the second reading would be that public hearing for the amendment, if this is appropriate.
I think it is. We're going to a more restrictive use, not a less.
Right.
And as a result of that, I think you can adopt the earlier findings of the Planning and Zoning Commission, just amend the petition as Mr. Eve stated, and then go ahead and have your first reading today and have your second reading next on the 26th.
Right. Mary Lois, y'all.
Yes.
Good.
Yes,
We're good.
Yep.
Yes.
We're good. Yes. We spoke just before the hearing today to confirm that.
Would there be a provision put on this property where if it sells and the guy?
We're gonna do a
quits,
certificate of land use restriction that's will be recorded in the real estate records. And I've already done one, we've shared it, we've talked back and forth, and we'll all sign it. So, but I'm gonna share that with Mr. Patterson, make sure it meets his criteria, but yes, it outlines everything we've talked about, everything we've agreed to.
And that,
Yes, sir.
that could be part of the ordinance as well. Could it be attached to this, to our
Can,
ordinance?
I'm leery of you having a first reading with you not having that in your hand, but you could do, I leave that to you.
I think what Mr. Reeves was talking about, it'll run with the land, once they record that with the deed.
Okay.
Correct, it'll be even probably more stringent than the ordinance would be, so that'll be an agreement that property owners have.
Nobody will ever come and look at your ordinance to see what it says.
Right, yeah.
But they can't do a title search without finding what
Yeah, I
I'm
got
talking
you.
about.
All
So,
right, makes sense.
yes.
His way gives Ms. Kearns more protection than even the ordinance would.
Yeah. That's why I'm not a lawyer.
More so
If
than
they're,
the
if they're happy with it, I'm happy with it.
I got a copy, please.
Sure, Marty. Come on up, please. Just speak up, baby.
Hello, I just want to make sure that I understand, as my role in my office, is that this land use agreement, it's not policed by our office. I don't believe. It's not something in our regs that I would enforce.
Well, no, I don't think I think that's accurate, because he's saying it'd be attached to the deed, correct, Mr. Eves?
Well, not exactly.
Okay.
Not exactly. I would view, because certificates of land use restriction are provided for in your ordinance, in fact, I've inserted a paragraph in it that says that our non-compliance, because it'd be us who's not compliant, our non-compliance could be subject to a complaint to the planning commission office. Yes, and because it's a part of this process, yeah, I would think so. Because I represent to you that that's what I'm gonna do. If you adopt this ordinance, I think you're entitled to rely on me
Following through with it.
just what I just said. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I would see that as that's one available. But they could also take us to court. They could file a suit.
Right, I just want to make sure
But-
that,
but-
I don't get a phone call and say, they're not doing something right, they're making noise or whatever, then what do I do? It's not in my reading.
Well, it's,
It would be by adoption, it would be by.
yeah, and what we can do and can't do under this certificate is very clear. If we can do this, we have to do it this way. It's not, they're not some obscure something that you'll play nice. I don't really know what that means. So, but yes, it would be my assumption that somebody could make.
But we could also see that document between the first reading and the second reading,
You'll have it
right?
this week.
I mean, this is not approved until we get to the second reading,
That's
right?
Yeah, just have your first reading subject to
What-
the approval of the conditional use.
That's right.
Then we're fine.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Thanks, Marty. Appreciate it.
So is this more appropriate than a zone change to the UC3 with a conditional use permit through planning and zoning?
Well, it's not a conditional use permit. That's different.
That's my question.
Well, that's different. That's just a different animal. It really doesn't apply to what we're talking about. There's something called a certificate of land use restriction, and that's where literally somebody says, okay, you can do this, and the ordinance technically allows you to do this, but you can only do it under these circumstances, or you got to do it this way, and those things are not in your ordinance. So we have agreed to do those things that your ordinance doesn't require that we do, or it doesn't require that we do it that way. We've agreed to do that anyway, because we've met with our neighbor and worked that out. So, to get a conditional use permit, those things have to be in your ordinance. Well, these things aren't.
I think you're working that out. I'm probably gonna get out of the way on that.
Yeah,
You've handled that one.
I think we're okay.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's better for the local property owners to have the ability to negotiate with the
Right.
developer, get a specific list of things that they want to do, which would be, you wouldn't be able to have that level of detail in a conditional use permit. I think this is probably better for the property
Yeah.
owners. That's good. And more certain for the developer, so it's better all the way around.
And their concerns were legitimate and just concerns that just hadn't been brought to our attention. So it was a good conversation, and we reached the right result, I think.
Yeah.
Let me see if my common sense is understanding this. If you all agree, the two parties, and then something goes wrong and they violate that, the county is out of it, it would be between them to either make you do it or sue you or whatever.
Or complain to the codes enforcement official, because.
But he just said he don't have a dog in the fight. He's
Well,
not
no,
gonna,
but
he's not gonna police it.
I don't think he said he wasn't going to. I think his question was, will I? And
But that's what you're concerned about, isn't it?
I was concerned and it was my job to do that.
Right. It's gotta be somebody's in the county's job
Are
to do it.
are you saying you don't want to do,
No,
you shouldn't have?
I'm just, I was asking the question.
Well, that.
Yeah, he's not
as
sure
I
whether
understand,
it's
he
his
just
role
asked-
to do that or not, which is, I mean, in my opinion, maybe to be determined. We need to research that a little bit to see, whether or not that would be your role.
I think what Mr. Eves is saying is that document, what Mr. Sizemore was asking about is if it's not in the ordinance, how can I enforce it? What Mr. Eves is saying is that the document that they've created gives us the ability as the county to enforce that agreement.
And it's a part of this, the statute allows the planning commission or the fiscal court to impose certain conditions in the event of rezoning. This is the way you do it. Because it's a part of this process, yeah, the county has a role to play. It's not the only way that Ms. Conley would have to complain. She could sue us, or she could go talk to Marty about it. If it didn't get any satisfaction from Marty, she could sue us. But it would be part of the process, yes. At least that's the way I view it. It's simpler. It's simpler than it sounds. I think really we're making a.
But this also, what happens if Mr. Marks decides he wants to sell? Then is the neighbors protected with that same agreement?
Because of this, again,
That's
nobody ever comes and looks at your
That's right.
your
Yeah.
ordinance. They look at your map, and then they do a title exam. Well, if they do a title exam, they're gonna find this agreement, and this follows the property as long as, this follows the property as long as Ms. Conley has not rezoned her property. If she rezones her property commercial, then it's all commercial.
Right.
So, that's, so, that, I think it's much simpler.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think
than that in practice.
I think it's protecting all parties and they're in agreement to it.
Well, I said in the Berea meeting that after I talked to you and Morgan and the other side, there would be a happy medium here. And I'm just glad that they and you all are willing to sit down and work this out. See, there's always a way to work things out without having to go to court.
It's always a good idea to understand the other side's perspective.
Sure, but I'm thankful that you all done that and they done that, you know, to save a lot of trouble. May take some legal money from you.
I know, and I hate that. I'm hoping somebody comes along this afternoon and takes their place.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to do my very best in making this motion, right, or asking for a motion of ordinance number 1807. All right, so this will be the first reading of ordinance 1807 with the amendment that has been discussed today, changing it from UC 7 to UC 4. We're changing that. We withdrawed that, and going to go with UC 7 to UC 3 neighborhood commercial.
Yes, sir.
So is that an accurate statement? Judge,
It is,
feels
yes.
good with
That's
that, right?
appropriate.
All right.
That's appropriate.
Get all
It's
that
appropriate.
Why don't you just make that
I was
motion?
watching that
We
this
won't
morning,
have to-
and I wrote it down too.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'm not gonna try to say that
Yeah, you
again,
already said that.
because it's recorded. This thing is on, right?
I'll
All right.
second.
So we'll have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Barter,
At this time, yes.
Mr. Tudor,
Yes.
Mr. Buckin.
Yes.
Mr. Combs.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all very
I
much.
apologize for all the confusion.
No, it's good. Thank you. Mary
Glad
Lois,
we got
thank
it
you.
straightened out.
Thank you.
All right. Next, detention center medical discussion. Jayla Thomas, and Miss Kim Cox.
Good morning.
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 We have, over at the detention center, our medical coverage is with Southern Health Partners is who we use. And I met this fine lady right here that lives in Madison County. And I really don't know a lot about her practice, but she is wanting to come into the jail and potentially stay with some money, with coverage, medical coverage. So I'm going to introduce Kim Cox here, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself and her business, and we'll discuss that. Come on, Kim.
Hi. I've been a nurse for 32 years. I've been a nurse practitioner for 18 years. I've been a resident of Madison County for since 2012. But if you count my education at EKU and all the money I gave them, probably half my life. My friends tease me because they say I lived here so long I named my youngest daughter Madison. So she asks me all the time if that's true. It kind of is, sort of. But I became interested in the jail contract. I have a practice here. I bought Kay Stevens' office. I know most of y'all are familiar with her and Bob. She and I go back a long time ago and friends as nurse practitioners. And when she was thinking about retiring, I told her if she decided to retire that I would like to purchase her practice. So she called me in 2014 and said, I'm thinking about retiring. Are you still interested? And I said, well, I thought you'd wait a little bit longer, but okay. So ended up taking ownership of that practice in March 1st of 2015. So I've been operating as a provider in the county since 2015. Actually, in her practice, in 2013, I opened a nonprofit organization so that I could take care of people. It was before Obamacare, and a lot of people didn't have insurance, so I worked out of Unity Baptist Church and saw a number of patients there. The church didn't charge me overhead and didn't charge me any utilities or anything to see patients, and I saw patients actually in the church. So I guess technically I've been seeing patients here since 2013, but the practice has grown and grown and grown since I purchased Kay's practice. Reading the articles that was put in the paper regarding the jail issues and the cost, I was approached by some people in the county about making a bid, and I think that was the first time it was in the paper. It was October, Doug. And I was like, no, I don't think I want to do that at this time. And then I felt sure that someone locally would bid for that. But then in December when it was run again, and then maybe even in January, does that sound right? No local bidders had bid for the contract, and then again I was approached by people, my husband and I in the county, about Kim should do that. So we discussed it, and I called Doug, and that's kind of why I'm here today. I do have correctional experience. I serviced the regional county jail for Lee, Owsley, and Wolf County for 7 years when they first opened. A little bit about my background. I was born and raised in Owsley County, which is Boonville, Kentucky. I've practiced there for 18 years. That's how I got the regional jail in Lee County. After being there for 18 years, then I went through a divorce and decided to move to Madison County. So I still have the practice in Owsley County. I also have a practice in Clay County, Kentucky, Manchester, and then this practice here in Madison County. So I have resources with my nurses. I have 5 nurse practitioners with me, and then I also have nursing staff with me. I've approached the nursing staff that's currently at the jail. 2 of the 3 have said that they will stay. One of them isn't sure what she wants to do, I think, at this time. I've also interviewed and hired other LPNs and nursing staff for the jail contingent that I was to get the bid, because I wanted those staff in place in case I do get the bid. So do y'all have any questions?
I think something I guess that I would have a question on is that is there a formal bid, or is there paperwork or anything?
I've already got with Judd.
It's a professional service. It doesn't need to be bid.
Okay.
So it would be really up to the jailer's discretion as to, I guess, with fiscal court approval, we'd have to look at that, what the contract terms are. I've got a contract that they proposed that I'm about halfway through.
Okay.
We need to look at more in depth. it's, you know, this is a big project. There's a lot to this, and as Doug will be able to tell you, the majority of any litigation that comes out of the jail is usually resulting from the medical care that staff provides or does not provide, and so that's very much important to Ms. Cox as it is to the county. So there's lots of issues there that we want to make sure that we've thought our way through and make sure we're all on the same page about how it happens. And you know, some of that is what MDs are going to have, and who do you refer to, and how you shuffle that work. So it's probably, you know, a larger discussion, but I think the jail has discretion as to, and I checked with Rich Ornstein and on how other counties are doing it as well, and it's a professional service and it doesn't need to be bid.
So
there's a lot to it. I mean, there's a whole lot to it, and more discussion. And I just want to bring Kim up today so she can introduce herself and introduce about her. But with that said, you know, her and I are still going to sit down with Judd, and there's still some questions, you know, that we have to ask.
I think for us, what I would like, if y'all don't mind, is once y'all sort of work out your terms, maybe that's kind of part of the contract, and then maybe we have a little summary sheet that sort of gives the pros and cons to the fiscal court and magistrates, sort of comparing what price and who we have right now and what they offer versus what obviously you're all going to provide and offer, and then we can just maybe do that at the next court or next couple of court meetings and approve it.
Kim is coming over to my office, or we probably about 8:30. Sure. Possible if you can be with us.
This Friday will be bar convention. Right after the first one this week. I'll be with you. Okay. And we'll all three sit down.
When is the Southern Health Partners contract up? July 1?
We both have a 30-day out either side. And again, Southern Health Partners does a good job for us. In Kim's there's basically savings, $20,000 to $25,000 a year savings with the same coverage that we have. And again, we still have more questions to sit down and talk about liabilities and things like that, which we in the contract also. But you can just sit down and talk about some things.
And your all's contract will probably be 30 days out too.
Yeah, you decide to either side.
I will say from my perspective and from liability and from the legal issues that come out, I really like the idea of somebody local that's involved. It helps them.
I think it does too, Judd. I like that. Again, we want the best service, but I also like the local person.
Well, we had somebody local years ago, $17,000 a year, and it's $130 now.
Well, it's an extremely difficult position. It really is. And nowadays, especially with the kinds of conditions that people are coming into jail with, it's just so many folks come in as just walking time bombs, and it's difficult to manage from a medical perspective, and then additionally from a legal perspective on who do you have to serve, how do you serve them, and who do you refer out, and when you refer them out, are they the county's responsibility, or are they not? There's all kinds of issues that play in there, and if we're able to develop a relationship with somebody local that we can become a true partner with, it really will make a difference to the health of the community, health of the jail, make Doug's job a lot easier, and I think reduce the exposure of the fiscal court in a lot of different ways. I don't have a count, but my guess is probably 65 or 70% of litigation that the jail's experience has been a result of medical care, and it's just really hard to get anybody to listen to you when they're out of Louisville or they're out of Indiana or they're wherever they're from. But I know where he is all the time, and I know where to find her. So it's better to have that kind of discussion, and you can prevent. Big fan of preventive legal action, and you can sit down and have discussions with folks about what they're going to find and where the traps are going to be. You can plan ahead, and it's much easier to do that with somebody local. So that's my 2 cents.
Well,
Good.
Given this day and time, I would just, whether or not you can work a contract out, we'll see about that, but I commend you for even wanting to touch the jail. I mean, we just have lots of headaches at the jail, so.
A lot of my population that I see is also substance abuse and addiction, and that's kind of near and dear to my heart, and 80% he tells me is drug-related charges. I think the fiscal court and Mr. Thomas has some really exciting and innovative ideas. I think Madison County has some innovative ideas as how to target that and treat it and prevent it. I wanna be a part of that. I'm really excited about that. I'm vested because I'm a taxpayer in this county and I am easy to find. My presence will be within the facility much more than the presence that's there now. Because to me, that's proactive and preventative, is to have a physical presence there more so than someone a state away.
Kim, I have to say I was a little skeptical that you came in and said that you'd had experience in Lee County Jail and know what goes on inside these jails.
Yeah, it's different.
You can't just have a doctor come in and run a jail medical group just like he does. His practice is so much different and so much more you have to deal with.
I learned a lot in those 7
And
years.
I'm very much willing you bring some more information to us and us look over it and we'll make a decision.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Doug.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Kim, appreciate you being here. Guys, would y'all mind a recess here for a second? You're in? All right, we're gonna recess.
Just started
All right.
thinking it felt right.
Okay. All right, so we're back at it here. Next on the agenda is first reading of ordinance 1811. This is drug policy. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning. Yes, so as you can see in Dropbox, for this drug and alcohol policy, upon review of it, there was a lot of discrepancies. So you're going to see a lot of things that are marked out, and there was a lot of things that were duplicates. So that's why there's a lot of crossouts. Whenever we're looking through it, so we changed the blood alcohol concentration definition to be a little bit more user-friendly for the percentage of alcohol in the bloodstream. For the random selection process, this is 10% for alcohol tests and 25% for non-federally mandated and 50% for federally mandated. So that would be CDL drivers. For safety-sensitive position, we included any personnel who regularly drives their personal vehicle while conducting county business because they are covered underneath our property liability insurance. So if they were to get into an accident, the county would cover that accident on county time. And then any personnel who handles finances as well was added to this list. Underneath the confidentiality section, for the records of drug or alcohol test results, written or otherwise, received by the employer, that it should be confidential. And then there's two things where a written release of information is granted and signed, or the release is ordered by a court of competent jurisdiction is when we would release that confidential information. Change the language underneath the prohibited behavior. And then, while having a blood alcohol concentration greater than 0, that was already in the policy, but it was in a different manner in some of the description to where it didn't make any sense. So that's why it's added there in red. And then, drug testing information will be maintained in separate confidential records. It's going to be at the HR department and at the third-party administrator's location. Some of the information they don't send my way just because of HIPAA regulations. For pre-employment testing, we added and completing pre-employment paperwork because once they come in for pre-employment paperwork, that's when I send them for drug tests. For the applicants, so previously it said that if they had failed a substance or breath alcohol test for the pre-employment testing, and this is on page 17, that they would not be considered for future employment with the county at all. So instead, we said that they may reapply after 6 months, but they also must successfully pass the pre-employment testing at that point. Underneath the post-accident testing section on page 19, change this wording to where the post-accident testing would happen if will be conducted following an employee's involvement in an accident on or off the county's premises while on duty in which property damage of $500 or greater occurs, accident contains 2 or more individuals, or an individual requires off-site medical attention be administered to a person. This was kind of a gray area because a lot of individuals were not exactly sure on when to send an individual for post-accident testing, whether they just got a little scrape on a truck, should they be sent. So for the $500, since that's our deductible, and that would actually be sent to insurance, is anything over 500, usually. For out of town assignments, so if an employee is out of town, that they would have to report it no later than 2 hours after the accident occurred, unless there was extenuating circumstances. So that language wasn't in there. So if they went to the hospital or something. And then that is it. Do you all have any questions?
I don't have any.
Rachel, on reporting an accident,
Mhm.
they report to their supervisor and law enforcement, or just a supervisor, depending on
So if there is an accident where it involves more than one individual, then the police must be called no matter what. So that's our policy, that's in our admin code as well. In the event that it is just one individual, they automatically have to tell their supervisor and an incident report form is filed. So whether there's any type of damage that occurs, the incident report form is filed. If there's an accident greater than $500, or if there's 2 or more individuals, then the police have to be called.
who to report to on a weekend situation
For drug testing or for their supervisors?
for an accident.
They would still call their supervisor. Yeah, there's gonna be somebody that is gonna be their supervisor that will be on duty while they're working on the weekends.
All right, guys, I need a motion, a second, to approve the first reading of ordinance 1811, drug policy.
So moved.
Second.
Have a first and a second. No discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, Rachel. Appreciate it. Next, guys, is Resolution 1813. This is an ASAP grant application. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court, at the request of the Madison County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy, assists in providing resources to enhance the health and well-being of the general public. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court will act as the applicant agent for the Madison County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy, also known as ASAP, to make an application to the Kentucky Justice and Public Safety Cabinet, Office of Drug Control Policy, for assistance to affect alcohol and substance abuse issues in Madison County, and to increase drug prevention and awareness activities funded by the program. And whereas the Madison County ASAP funding request is limited to $21,000 for the 2019 Agency for Substance Abuse Policy funding year. Now therefore be it resolved that the Madison County Fiscal Court assists the Madison County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy, acting as the fiscal agent for the purpose of providing services necessary for the program fiscal operation of the agency. So at this time, I need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 1813 ASAP grant application.
Motion to approve resolution 1813 ASAP grant application.
So I have a motion and a second. Thanks, guys. This time,
Who was second?
John. If there's no more discussion, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is the appointment, Southern Madison Water District. I would like to recommend to reappoint Leonard Bratchett to Southern Madison Water Board, effective, well, his appointment actually expires on July 7th. I know it's a little early, which is fine. So it would go to July 7th, 2022. So he's still in his term, but just to go ahead and reappoint Leonard Bratchett to the Southern Madison Water Board.
Well, he does a good job, and he does get his hours in each
Yep.
and every year.
He does.
And Southern Madison Water is in good financial shape.
Very much so.
They're trying to upgrade every time they have a little extra money. So yes, I would move that we reappoint him.
Thanks for that motion, Larry.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second.
Hey, Judge, you know, I've said this time and time again, but this is another really good example of this, of how fortunate that we are to have good people who are willing to serve on our boards. Leonard's just an outstanding individual in his personal life and his own business affairs, and I mean, to have somebody like that represented is just really outstanding.
It is good. Thanks, guys, for the motion and second. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucket?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is a contract with Commonwealth Economics. I would ask the court's permission for me to sign this contract. This contract with them for them to provide us a revenue analysis service. Obviously, you all know that I've been working on the Healing Center. Obviously, been working with Jailer Thomas on an addition to the jail. We're obviously working to present this to the fiscal court in July, and we want to present to the court the jail expansion along with the Healing Center, and then the financial analysis to both jail and Healing Center. And so this contract is hiring Commonwealth Economics to do that financial review for us in our county. What are we going to have to do in order to pay for these things? And so I would ask your permission for me to sign this contract with Commonwealth Economics.
What is the rate on that, Judge?
They will be charging a flat fee of $3,750 per month, or a prorated portion thereof. And so, well, ultimately, I mean, we're moving on this pretty quickly. I've been having lots of meetings with the architects for the jail. We've been having a lot of meetings with our operator and our construction team for the Healing Center. And so this is all coming together pretty quickly.
Judge, they've been our advisor on the preliminaries.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Today,
Mhm.
and so I see no reason not to continue on with their.
Right.
If we're gonna see this project through, we gotta have some financial advice on it.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So is that a motion?
I make a motion.
All right.
Second.
So a motion and a second. If no more discussion, call the roll, please.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucket?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
No, yes. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Next is judge's report. A few announcements. There will be a special Flag Day ceremony here at the Madison County Courthouse front lawn. That'll be on Thursday, June the 14th, which is just a couple days from now. It begins at 6:30 p.m. After the ceremony, the Madison Community Band will be giving a concert of patriotic music. Please bring your own chair in case seating gets limited here on the front steps of the courthouse. In case of inclement weather, the ceremony and the concert will be held at the First Baptist Church on the Eastern Bypass. The Pennies for Paul's Car Show and concert will be Saturday, June 16th from 5 to 11 p.m. at the Richmond Center. Proceeds benefit the Madison County Humane Society. 2018 Taste of Richmond will be Friday, June the 22nd from 6 to 9 at the Richmond Center. For tickets or more information, please contact the Richmond Chamber of Commerce. Berea Independence Day celebration will be Wednesday, July 4th at Berea City Park. Events begin at 6 p.m. It picked up the Chamber of Commerce. It did. Yeah, that's pretty good. Way to go, Siri. Events begin at 6 p.m. and fireworks go off at 10 p.m. Richmond's 4th of July fireworks extravaganza will be Wednesday, July 4th at Lake Reba Complex. Programs start at 5 p.m. and fireworks also at 10 p.m. Union City Days will be Saturday, July the 7th at the Union City Park and Union City Roofing Club. Events begin at 8 a.m. and go all day. Madison County Courthouse and its related offices will be closed on July 4th in observation of Independence Day. They will reopen on Thursday, July the 5th for anybody that's planning on you being here at the courthouse. Next is comments from department heads. Scott Tussey.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to come up and make a friendly reminder and re-announce Kentucky River Sweep this Saturday. I think that's what, June 16th. We'll be at Fort Boonesboro from 9 to 12. We'll get started cleaning up at 9, and then we'll get the cookout starting at about 11:30 and hopefully wrap things up about noon. We will be providing the trash bags and gloves for people to get on the river banks and clean up. I just want to make a reminder of folks and participants who come out to volunteer to dress appropriately and dress for working in kind of a rough, rocky, woody, nasty environment. So my biggest comment would be no flip-flops if you're going to come down to River Sweep and help us out. We will be doing, all event volunteers will receive a t-shirt, and we will have a hot dog and hamburger cookout following the cleanup. And I challenge everyone in this room to try to show up and come down and help us out at the River Sweep. We'll take your help, and we'll be glad to do it. Special thanks to Sekasui Corporation from Winchester and Central Kentucky Landfill and Hauling Company. They've made some donations that help pay for the cookout and as well as some of the supplies. Also want to thank the Kentucky Department of Highway Transportation. They're coming down and providing free disposal. They'll load up all the trash and take care of it and get rid of it for us.
Yep. It's good.
Any questions?
Where's this started at, Scott?
We'll be doing it at Fort Boonesboro Beach as the rally point, and then there'll be a couple boats that'll transport people across the river. The main influx of trash is on the Clark County side. If you're familiar with the lock there, when the water comes up, there's a backwash, and all the trash gets deposited right there on the riprap and rock in Clark County. So we went down to take a look at it last week, and there's plenty there for everybody to clean up. You wouldn't be amazed about how many basketballs, soccer balls, footballs. I even found a softball in the mess. So I always take a piece of trash and I write down on the date of it from Kentucky River Sweep. And if you've been to my office before, I've got a collection from the years. It's kind of like a little trophy collection. So this year was the first softball I found from that. So
Is Clark County gonna be working on their?
Clark County Solid Waste is involved as well as volunteers from that. So.
Typically, Mayor Bartner and I and Judge Brenham, we cook hamburgers and hot dogs. We go all down and help.
That is correct.
Scott, I'm just gonna go ahead and apologize in advance. I won't be there this year.
Well, you've made a good run at it, Magistrate Botkins, so
I'm just getting your t-shirts.
I'll give you a hall pass this year. Thank you all.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Any other department heads? Comments from magistrates? Blair?
Judge, I really don't have anything. I was gonna talk to Scott after the court meeting and ask him, do we have any update or anything on the junk place on 1016?
I visited there and no one would come to the door or no one was home last week. I had not had an opportunity to go back and visit.
Well, they moved all the couches, all the mattresses out in the yard.
Yes.
Of course, all we've had is rain, and, I mean, it's an eyesore that I've been putting up with for 6 months.
That's correct.
And we've got to do something. I mean, I don't know what else to do. Can't we condemn that?
I would assume there's legal action you can take through property maintenance code.
Yeah, I mean, once the notices have been sent, if they fail to remedy, then we can take action. We can clean it up and then at least clean the property.
Who owns the property? Does anybody know?
That's
Yeah.
debatable.
It's debatable, but yes, I know who owns it, and Mike knows who owns it. But, it may have changed hands, we don't know.
Short of me physically going on there and removing the stuff, I mean, that's where we're at.
Okay.
But it's just an eyesore, and, you know, I get complaints on it daily, and I know why. And then all that stuff is going right down in that little valley there.
Is this the one that there's a trailer and then maybe
Yeah.
right down from it, there's a burnt trailer or something like that?
Same people on both supposedly. Mike's been there and made several arrests there too. That
Scott, we'll
bunch
get
is
together
gone.
on it. Let's see if we can't.
That bunch is gone.
We can come to a common solution on it.
Yeah. And maybe we'll get with county attorney on it and see.
Good.
All right.
Sounds good to me. Other than that, Judge, I'm just glad to be here.
Glad you're here, buddy. Tom?
Just a couple of quick things. I've seen a lot of official Facebook, so it's gotta be official. I've seen a lot of Facebook traffic here lately addressing Will Green, and a lot of folks' memories of Will Green, and a lot of things that folks would like to do at Will Green and wish would happen at Will Green. And I just want to tell you, Will Green's open. You can go to Will Green anytime you want to. You can put your boat in, you can put your kayak in, you can put your canoe in, you can do what you want to at Will Green. Will Green is not closed. So, make new memories. Head on down to Will Green. They have fishing tournaments at 3 or 4 every single week, and you're welcome to go down and join them. George Powell runs several of those, or at least he has in the past. You can call him at any time for some additional information on that. I will say though, and just to be on both sides of this, Will Green, what you see in the daytime when you're down there making memories, and the phone calls that I have gotten in the night over the last 3 years about disturbances and about illegal activities and about other different things that go on at Will Green, well, we need to have a discussion about those, because I have 3 pages of sheriff reporting to Will Green. So anyway, enough said about that. It's work zone season again, and the county's out, and the state works are out, and speeding's out, and KSP's out, and county's out. So slow down, please, and let them live. And I've been seeing a lot of different places around in the 4th District, and I've not called Scott yet, but he's got to get through Saturday first. But there's a lot of illegal dumping going on, Judge, and we sure need to stop that if we can. And most of the times, a lot of this last round of it was storm damage that I'll just tell you, we would have come and picked up. You didn't have to dump it over in the creek. We'd come and get it if you just call us. Right? And I've given out my number many times, and I'm going to give it out one more time today. So if you need us, please give us a call. You can get hold of me anytime at 200-9765. Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, Tom. John?
I've had a couple of calls and concerns about Ford Road down there. I talked to Willie this morning. He said we got a contract with Fiscal Construction. That was a grant, I think.
Some mercy money in it. Yep.
That we got on that, and they will be working down there to try to fix that road back where they can get through there. It's a little narrow getting through. I don't think you're really supposed to go through right now, but some of the farmers are going through it. So that road should be back up in a couple of weeks there, and make it accessible to get all the way through from Ford to Phelps down there. I just want to commend the boys out at Waco Volunteer Fire Department. They did an outstanding job running their truck and tractor pull, and thank our chief there. I think he supplied a tractor or 2 out there, and that's the community coming together out there to help support that volunteer fire department. It's one of the best volunteer fire departments in the state of Kentucky, and I like to commend those guys. And they had around 2,400 people out there. The stands were full. Everybody had a good time, and I talked to Jason yesterday. They're going to try to bring the championship back out there maybe later on this fall, so be looking for that. And any way you can help these volunteer fire departments, be willing to donate a little bit, donate a little time, and show them a little appreciation. That's all I got.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Raj?
I was going to mention the truck pull as well. John's already covered that. I was out there as well. I was able to put one campaign card on the vehicle. I left one for John on his while I was out there, just to remind him there's more than one magistrate at that thing. So, but anyway, just cutting up with John a little bit. I don't really have anything. Everything seems to be going pretty good, and they mentioned that our workers are out on the roads. Just be careful and watch for them and mowing and whatever. But I appreciate all the county workers for what you do.
Thanks, Rod. Judge, got anything? Kenny?
No, sir.
Sheriff? Doug? Good. All right. Comments from audience? Anybody in the audience?
Yep.
Sure, come on up.
You might know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, just say who you are, where you live.
I'm Louis Tampton. I we out on Waco on Trees Road. And I think we y'all don't have to vote on one topic ban. It ain't me up all the topic with one topic ban. That right. What are we doing wrong? What the widow man doing wrong? I ain't got no roads up.
Well,
about
well, for one thing, I think maybe if you're here to talk about maybe going with county-wide garbage pickup or recycling or whatever, you know, I don't know what you might be hearing out that is maybe some things that are false.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking at what's best for the community, and we're looking at the pros and the cons. The fiscal court has not acted upon anything yet. We're identifying information. We're looking at what ways that we could potentially provide the very best service to all the county, in combination with what's best for our roadways. You know, and so, you know, as far as if you think we're going to go a certain route, I don't know what you're hearing. I don't think you've contacted my office any to
None of
ask
it
any
ain't
kind.
call you because you won't answer the phone.
I won't answer the phone.
No.
Wow. Okay. Have you tried to call
Every one of
me?
them people I thought been calling.
Have y'all gotten calls?
I've got a few, yeah.
Okay. Nobody's called my office, and I've got many messages over there on my desk. If you want to call me out, that's perfectly fine.
I didn't know
But
that.
I've got many my phone numbers. I mean, I answer my phone all the time. For you to say that you've tried to call my office, you know, I for one don't appreciate that, because I'm open. My door's open. Anytime anybody wants to walk to my office, anytime that anybody wants to walk to my office, they more than welcome to.
Yeah,
I have no problem.
well,
I talked to Brandon McIntosh the other day about it, and told him. Many people have called me. My cell phone number 661-5705.
That's what people told me.
Well, then you're not hearing it from the horse's mouth, right?
No, that's why I'm doing
All right,
up here right now.
So why not come to my office? You know, you've wasted your time from being able to pick up trash today because you could have come and talked to me anytime you want. The fiscal court has not made a decision, and we aren't going to make a decision. We would present this. We've got our staff working on different solutions, different options, and until we hear it and we know it's best for the community, we're not going to make a decision.
Well, I don't think one man can be all the time with you.
I might agree with you, but I'm not going to make that perception or speculation until I've got all the facts in front of me.
Well, I know I've done it for 49 years, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But
I don't think anybody's ever said you were doing anything wrong.
Hey, I told them bad way about people talk me out. If the other company tell you, all right, if you like one company, you don't like him, what you gonna do about it?
Well, we haven't.
I mean, there's a lot of speculation. I hear what you're saying. I mean, nobody said that Newell Sanitation's doing anything wrong.
2 years ago, I don't want to make nobody mad. I just up here to die what's going on.
Well, we haven't made any decisions as of today, like the judge said. And I know you probably know me and know where I stand.
Well, you know what we've been through one time before.
I understand that, and I've been through that, and I don't want to go through that again. And whatever decision we do make, I hope will be the best for the county. But I understand the private hauler, because there's places he can get that the other people can't.
Right.
I've always stood up for the private hauler because there's places the big trucks can't get unless, you know, they may offer something and say, well, we're gonna send a small truck in there. We don't know that. But I'm not for cutting the smaller haulers out. I don't think anybody in here is for cutting the smaller haulers out.
Well, nobody. I worked 49 years at what I thought right now. And you all go out and take everybody else bids and wait on them? What damn bid are you in?
What? I can't understand.
He's the county judge.
Let me die that.
I'm not in any other business besides county judge. I work full time right here as county judge executive.
Why do you people times up everything and won't be the judge?
Because he likes to be.
Well, I like to be up top.
Right, but we're here to represent the people of this county, right, and provide the very best service that we can provide, right?
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't be.
And so until I have the facts in front of me, I can't decide what the very best service for this county is, and what's best for the majority of the taxpayers.
I will
Right.
say this, Judge, to his point though, I have gotten some phone calls, and I appreciate people that are willing to call and give their opinion on the trash thing, cause it's not a one-fit-all solution. There's more, it's not just a straight, here's a contract. There's lots of ins and outs, and there's lots of angles, there's lots of things that's gotta be worked out on the trash across the county, regardless of how it ends up going, but I appreciate you coming and just letting us.
I mean, I agree. I'm not making
I don't
a
want to make
decision.
nobody mad.
I'm not. Well,
all I want to do is keep my business.
Ron, we're gonna try to keep it fair to everybody.
we're looking what's best for the community. All right.
We're gonna try to see if every small carrier can have a portion of the pie too, if it works out, so. Okay, we're not gonna try to take your business away from you. I don't wanna take any.
I want to keep the
small-
people at the office. I had them people for 34 years. And
Good, thank you for coming.
So you can call me anytime. You got a
no,
pick.
I ain't gonna call you. I'm gonna come to you.
All right, you can call me too.
He's on the third floor.
You come anytime you want to. A lot of people do.
Across the
Oh,
street.
Dr. Wall?
Yeah, third floor.
So whatever
Yeah,
whatever you're hearing out there is speculation.
We haven't.
You know?
People like to talk.
Do we have what? No,
Time frame on when you might get all the information.
You know, if anybody out there in the community thinks that we're gonna just throw this on, the small haulers, the independent guys, we're not. We're actually looking at maybe how we can provide using everybody. You know,
it may be.
we're looking to see what our options are. We have rural corridors. You know, are you with those as well?
I own Madison Sanitation.
Okay. So we have rural corridors with small county roads, narrow, and then we have urban corridors that are big roads with high population. You know, a lot of people that maybe the bigger trucks maybe can utilize those corridors better than the small corridors. You know, we're just seeing what our options are. We're getting information from other counties, other cities, what they do, what the pros and the cons are. You know, and that's all we're doing. We're gathering information right now to really see if there's some way that there can be a compromise with all parties involved. You know, I think we have 8 haulers registered.
8 or 9 permitted haulers and
8 or 9 permitted haulers. So, you know, we're looking to see, man, you know, can we provide you a better service in your business as well as providing the county a better service? You know, Mr. Newell Sanitation, I followed them down Red House Road many times. You know, and they'll stop and pick up this house, and then they might pass 20 houses before they pick up another one, right? Well, what if we could provide a service? What if we could provide a service where maybe he picked up all 20 of those? You know, does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
To pick up all 20 of those?
It makes
you know, is it better for you guys to have, you know, 100 customers in a 1 mile radius versus 100 customers in a 10-mile radius? I mean,
I think it could be very beneficial to the small hauler and the large hauler as far as that goes, because if you can move this around to where instead of you picking up every third or every fourth, you get them all, it will benefit you and it will benefit the people out in the community. So I think it may work for both sides. There's nobody up here wants to cut the small hauler around.
Absolutely.
No.
I mean, they talk about one topic, one topic.
No, that's, well, I don't know where you heard that, but that's not true.
No.
That was brought up as an option.
In the paper, what?
It was one of the options that he would
In
have
the
on the
paper.
table.
Well, yeah, you gotta believe the paper, don't you?
Well, I don't know
Everything that's in the paper, you gotta believe it, don't you?
Yeah, because it'll sit there and let you write anything.
Yeah, but you know, I want you to leave here today not threatened, not feeling like that somebody's trying to take your business away. I mean, I know how long that you've been here. Again, my door is always open. My phone number. I mean, many people call me daily. I was gone yesterday all day to Prestonsburg, and I came in this morning at 7 o'clock in my office, and there was 5 phone messages. But don't believe what people tell you. Believe me, right? And you hear it from my mouth. Yep. All right. And we'll have that kind of relationship if you do your part and call me or come see me. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
You know, I think we'll all get the opportunity though to do some research on this, because Scott presented a really good. I mean,
he did.
Presented a good. The day he came, but I didn't quit him that. I've talked to some of the Brea City commissioners over there about their contract and what's in it and how are they locked into it. I mean, there's lots of questions to be asked about this, so it's going to go on for a while.
And we're working with our GIS department, correct? You've had a meeting just to work with Megan to see what kind of corridors and options that we have and scenarios, you know. And so and we're working as much for you as a business owner. As much for you as a business owner, as much as we are for the citizens of Madison County. We're just seeing what our options are to see if we can't provide a better service for you as a business owner and for the citizens of Madison County. And that's as simple as that. So.
Thanks for coming, Ron.
People told me, I don't want that coming off the top. I don't want that way. You know, and off the wall, I go off the wall more than anything. Mr. Al, tell you, thank you. But Matt, the boat called me and told me, here, we ain't going down that boat.
Thank you, Mr. Newell. I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming in. Any more comments from the audience? I need a motion to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucket?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Burger?
Yes.
Just Tudor.
Yes. Next meeting is Tuesday, June 26, 2018 in Richmond. Again, the next meeting is Tuesday, June 26, 2018 in Richmond. I need a motion and a second to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Call the roll.
Mr. Bucket?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Burger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Just Tudor.
Yes.
Very good.